I've mentioned in several videos that you really have to pay attention to work hardening in your wire. Now this is something that I know a little bit about. I have been known to occasionally push my wire a little bit far. For example, there was one time when I was working on a project that was very similar to this one here, which is a Viking knit Taurus, and I was making this project in 20 gauge net wire. Now 20 gauge is very thick for Viking knit, but I chose that gauge because I wanted the strength that it was going to offer the final piece. As well, for that project I chose to work in a very, very long piece of wire, and that was because I didn't want there to be any joints. Now normally when you're working in Viking knit you want to work with shorter pieces of wire, because as you're passing the wire through on each stitch there is a tendency for the wire to work harden as you pass it through. The third thing I did was to work all in one section. I knew that I was not going to be drawing this, and drawing in Viking knit normally helps to even up the stitches. So because I knew I wasn't going to be drawing the piece to even up the stitches, I had to make sure that all of the ribs were nice and straight right from the get-go, and that meant that I had to pull a little bit tighter to make sure that everything stayed lined up. Now I could have periodically annealed my wire with my torch, but I was not willing to risk melting the whole thing. And at that time I didn't own a kiln, which would have been another option for annealing the wire. Well, 3 stitches from the end. 3 stitches. 3 stitches from being finished. My wire broke. Insert various expressions of gloom here. Anyways, I ended up having to unravel the stitching a little bit, adding a little piece of wire to it, and then finishing it up. And now luckily I was able to do that in a way that the join didn't show, and people who were looking at the piece afterwards couldn't tell at all that there had been a problem. The moral of this story is that your wire can and will break in the most inconvenient place and at the most inopportune time. So that's my tragic breakage story. Let me know about yours. What were you working on, and what did you do about it, and how did you fix it? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, if you're interested in learning more about work hardening, I've included an exercise on work hardening in my course, the Foundation Skills Introduction to Basic Chains course, and you can find out more about that course by visiting the lesson shop at my website, thetowofwire.com, or by clicking on the link up here, or by clicking on the link down in the description below. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.